Hi everyone, welcome to the video. In this video I'm going to tell you about what I've been up to in the month of October, and I'm going to tell you how much I earned for each agency, each stock agency, and what the highlights were of each agency and the individual sales and the things that really stood out to me. At the end, I'll tell you how much I earned in total for October. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. After the summer, things are starting to really pick up again. And one of those things that picked up was professional event photography. And every now and then I shoot an event where I go to a conference and I'm asked to take photos of the speakers, the people talking to each other at the reception over drinks, and also workshops that these conferences have. So it's quite challenging for me. And as a stock photographer, I shy away naturally from photographing people because it just presents complications to me. And I guess I'm more at home photographing a wild fallow deer than I am a wild business executive. They're a lot less dangerous. And this time, I've done it about 3 or 4 times, but this time I made a change. And the change was to my camera equipment. Normally I would hire a semi-professional Canon R6 Mark II camera body. But this year it was different because I had the Canon R8, which is got the same sensor as the Canon R6, but it only has one memory card and it has a lot smaller battery that doesn't last as long. I still hired a standard zoom lens, a Canon 24-70 2.8 image stabilized, and a flash, but I missed out on the body because I wanted to see how the Canon R8 performed as a professional events camera, and I also wanted to save some money on the upfront costs, so I didn't have to spend another 50 or 65 euros hiring out the Canon body for the day. And I also used my EF old glass, the Sigma 70-200, and the Sigma the Canon 50mm f1.8 EF prime lens, which I'm actually using on the Canon R8 now to video myself at an aperture of f1.8 with eye autofocus. So I hope the focus is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So what did I think of the setup that I was using, the R8 and those lenses? Well, I found that I much prefer the Canon R6 body for a professional shoot. It's a lot easier to choose the settings, and for some reason either the camera hire center had optimized the autofocusing settings so that it wasn't really a factor thinking about focusing even. It was just an automatic have to press the button and the camera would automatically find the eye of the subject. Now, it was very dark in this place where I was doing the shoot, so that may have been a factor. But I just found the R8 was a lot slower getting the focus, and I was using a fast RF Canon 24-70 lens, so it was nothing to do with the lens. It was probably just the way I had set the camera up. Maybe it needed some tweaking. The other factors were the single SD cards. I only had a single SD card in the R8, so there was no redundancy in case that card failed. So that added an extra set of anxiety, I suppose. And also the LP17 battery has about half or maybe even less of the life that the normal LP6 battery would have in the Canon R6. So I had to use 2 of those batteries, and I bought an extra battery as a backup, so I had 3. But those are the only things that I noticed. The picture quality was the same. The ISO performance was also the same in low light, and the video was also the same as the Canon R6. So at the end of the day, I had got the results that I needed, but I was not as relaxed as I normally would have been with the old Canon R6. On another subject now, I've also been getting back into the habit of getting up earlier and uploading a handful of photos or videos to the stock agencies. I had been getting out of that habit because of my second video channel, where I go all over the Netherlands and interview people about their cars or their World War II bunker or their Segway electric mobility device. But I'm getting back into it now because I know it's important to regularly upload, and I have been noticing that my earnings with stock photography are doing better than I expected. They do a lot better than the earnings from this YouTube channel. So I was on a road trip with my son in the Rotterdam area, and we were walking in a nature reserve, and we came across this kind of a half-grown hedgehog that was just lying under a bramble, and it was just breathing heavily, and it was covered in my worst nightmare, ticks. So it was obviously ill or injured, so my son and I managed to collect it and put it in a little bag with some cushioning, and we took it to an animal shelter where it was taken care of. But I thought it was a really good opportunity also to get some great stills and video of this quite not rare sight, but unique sight of this tiny cute little animal lying on its side and this horrific great tick on its face, and I think there are a few others as well. It was also covered in fleas, which was freaking us out on the way home, and that night we made sure all the clothes went in the washing because we didn't know if we'd been infested or not. But that was just one of the videos and photo series that I took. And for years I've been procrastinating about getting a drone for my stock photography and videography toolkit, but it's just been too much to think about for me with all the rules and regulations. I've had some very friendly viewers give me their suggestions on how to get the best drone footage or photos and how to go about buying a drone. But there's just been one thing in the back of my mind, the rules and regulations. And I'm a busy person. I have almost a full-time job. I've got kids. I've got 2 video channels, and I've got stock photography. So when it comes to drones, I want it to be short, easy, and safe. It'll just be a tool for my stock photography so that I can earn more money for my family. So it brings me to the subject where, for the first time, we have a sponsor of the show. And no, this sponsor is not the Rima ear, nose and ball bag trimmer, nor is it the Andrew Balcombe sensor cleaning service. No, this sponsor is Alexander Rotenberg's 2026 EU Drone Handbook. Now I say a sponsor, it's not really a sponsorship. So Alex was kind enough to send me a free copy of the handbook, and he must have sensed my need for more information as a stock photographer, and the best way to go about getting a drone, getting licensed, using the drone, and also crossing the borders of the EU and knowing what I can and can't do in, say, Germany or France. And especially in the Netherlands, there's a lot of infrastructure in the Netherlands. You've got the second biggest harbour in the world. You've got massive airports next to residential areas. You've got nature areas where I live, which I thought I could fly a drone over these Nature 2000 areas, but it's not as clear cut as I think. And knowing me, if I get a drone and I am not informed enough, knowing me, I will get into trouble using it. And, you know, my family doesn't need any drama, you know, just from my side hustle of stock photography. So Alex, as a dedicated stock photographer, has put his years of experience into this handbook and answered these really important questions that I need to know so I don't put myself at risk or the people walking under my drone at risk. So thanks Alex for sending me the handbook, and let's get into my stock earnings for the month of October 2025. We'll go on to Shutterstock now, and my portfolio has 3,167 images and 386 videos. Just out of interest, my lifetime earnings since 2012 is $7,277. In October, I made 37 sales, and that included 2 video sales. So some of the highlights now. One of the highlights was a photo that I made of some smoked eels, and this was at a street market where they sell smoked fish, including mackerel and herring, and also eels. But eel photos are quite unique because they're an endangered fish now. They swim across to Europe from the Caribbean in the Sargasso Sea, and they have been really affected by river obstacles in Europe, pollution and overfishing. So seeing a box of dozens of these smoked eels is probably a thing that's going to be more of the past. And an image of a very rare food source in Europe. That photo made $4.76 as a commercial image. I sold one of my daffodil photos that I took several years ago during the spring in the Netherlands, and that commercial image sold for $2.80. I also, while I was photographing landing planes and videoing them at Schiphol Airport over several visits, I took an editorial photo of one of the last KLM Jumbo 747 Boeing aircraft. They no longer use the 747, and that editorial photo sold for $1.90. And I also sold an editorial photo of a telephoto image of some very nice luxurious houses in Tasmania with the mountain of Mount Wellington behind it at sunset. And it's kind of compressed the foreground with the background to make a compelling image. Oh, it's really raining now. Anyway, ADD moment there. That editorial sold for $1.56. And more AI training for my photo and video replacement of the future, which will be some kind of bot. And I received $9.58 from the AI Contributor Fund. A photo that is easier and easier to make each spring now in Europe is these trees in the dunes that are covered in caterpillar webs. The climate change or the warm weather is bringing more of these caterpillars and moths to the Netherlands, and they just cover these trees in these white silvery silken threads, and that photo sold as a commercial image for 79 cents. And I also sold a commercial image, a wildlife image, which I haven't sold before and since I took it, which was about 4 years ago. And that is of a fairly rare black cockatoo, or as they call them in Tasmania, a mountain parrot. And this mountain parrot, which is about kind of maybe a foot long, maybe longer, it's quite a big bird. It's feeding on a Banksia tree, on the flowers of the Banksia tree. And they're really full of character, the way they grab these flowers with their feet and then chomp into it with their huge beaks. That commercial video sold for $7.82. A pretty good month for Shutterstock for October. In total, I made $39.17. iStock Getty now, and I also had a bit better month with iStock Getty. I think in the last video I said sales had been lackluster, as they had been in the past 4 or 5 months. Well, we've broken the drought, roughly speaking, not hugely. A couple of highlights. The reason the drought was broken was mainly because of a rare, decent sized video sale. And that video was of a storm on the beach blowing kind of waves and waves of sand over the beach, which made for a compelling video. That commercial video sold for $10.48. There was an editorial photo in Tasmania that I took of a protest sign on the outside of the Aboriginal Centre in Tasmania, and that protest sign and building photo made $1.67. And during my trip to Scotland in the summer, I took a photo of a European bison in an outdoor wildlife park, and that commercial photo sold for $2.11. Now to Adobe Stock, and it was a pretty disappointing month for Adobe Stock, which is quite a surprise, because normally it's one of my, or if not my busiest or most successful agency. October was a bit of a letdown. A couple of highlights. I did sell 4 photos of the new Bowen Bridge, which is a bridge across the Derwent River in a suburb of Hobart in Tasmania. And they are building this really modern, strong, concrete replacement bridge to the old bridge that was going across. And the photo I took was of the modern construction of these concrete segments of the bridge going across the water. And also you can see next to the modern bridge, the old bridge, maybe in 1 or 2 of the photos. Those editorial photos sold for a total of $3.84. And I sold 2 commercial photos, very summary photos, very summer concept photos of very colourful wooden beach chairs on a beach. And those commercial photos sold for $2.65 in total. Now, I did get an email from Adobe inviting me to the AI training data sets, where I've been asked to photograph people doing things throughout a normal day in their life. And I have to submit 100 model released photos of persons or person doing different tasks throughout the day, you have to make sure that the photos aren't all the same, and that no more, I think they're doing 10 different tasks during the day. So there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through to successfully complete these tasks, number one. And number two is Adobe are asking us to provide these images to maybe train AI, which is kind of going to be making portrait or lifestyle photographers redundant maybe in the future. I don't know this for sure, but it's a guess. So I'm conflicted on it. First of all, it's so much trouble to go through. I think the only way it would work is if you have someone that you know who's prepared to do the photos for you for free or as a favor or in payback for something else. But 100 photos for $300, if you were paying the model, it wouldn't really pay off at all. But, you know, if you had an idea in your head, you had a friend who's very busy doing different things during the day and they weren't camera shy, and they were happy to do it for peanuts, then it would probably work out. I'm still thinking about it. In total for Adobe Stock for October, I made $24.60. Pond 5, 0 sales. And now to a surprise sale for Alamy, and that sale is of a photo I made, a kind of studio shot with a white background, a flat lay shot of megafauna fossils that I had accumulated from years of walking on the beach near The Hague and just picking up these fossils that have washed ashore. So the fossils are of mammoth's tooth, maybe one or two of them, a cave bear jaw fragment, a bison tooth, and I think of a woolly rhino jaw with some teeth in it. So very, very rare fossils. And a television program has purchased this photo via Alamy, and they paid a gross price of $65 for it. So yeah, it's interesting to see if anyone sees that image when they're watching TV. So that's pretty fascinating to know that it'll be displayed on a TV program somewhere in the world. Who knows where? If you do see them on a TV program, let me know in the comments, because I'll be delighted to find out who used it. How much did I earn in total for October with my stock photography and stock videography? Well, if anything in this video was helpful or useful to you, please give a like. If you think it's useful for someone that you know, please share the video or drop a comment, and that will help my channel immensely. In total, I made $114 for the month of October, which is not too bad. You know, I'm not going to encourage people to do stock photography anymore. I've been getting comments saying, saturated market, yes, agreed. Pitiful royalties, yes, agreed. AI competition, yes, agreed. Yes, I agree with all of those things that you say, but for the time being, nothing is going to stop me doing stock photography, because I'm a photographer, and it's the only excuse I have for paying for this bloody equipment. I mean, this camera and the lens I bought cost me bloody 2,000 euros. You think I can justify that to my family without getting some kind of reward back? No, that's the only excuse I've got for paying these prices for my hobby. So for the time being, I have to keep doing stock photography, firstly because I love it, secondly because it's the only thing that will stop my family from murdering me. Anyway, how did you go in October? Let me know. And also if you managed to compensate for the cost of all the camera equipment that you've paid for. Have a good one and see you in the next video. Bye! Take one day